Am I the a-hole for having my son miss his graduating road trip to watch his sibling? My son just graduated high school, and we were paying so he could go on a road trip with his friends. He was supposed to go Wednesday. My wife's mother and father got in a car accident. They live in another state, so we had to drive about 4 hours. My wife was a wreck and wasn't in the position to drive since her dad was critical. He pulled through luckily. We have two other kids, 11 and 7. We can't leave them at home alone, and we couldn't find a sitter to watch them on such short notice. We even tried our neighbors, but he couldn't do it. So that left our 18-year-old. He was mad, to put it mildly, but did it. I told him we would make it up to him, and if he could ask if his friend could move it back a week. They couldn't, sadly. We were gone for 2 days. He pulled though. My wife stayed and I headed back. I paid him for watching the kids and went to talk to him about getting him on the trip. It was supposed to be 2 weeks, and they should just be a state over. He blows up about ruining his trip, and there is no point going even though it should still 12 days of the trip. He called up a jerk and locked himself in his room. I need another opinion since this was emergency, and he doesn't seem to care. His grandparents almost passed. Edit. Well, he called his mom. Let's say it didn't end well. He did say, basically said the same thing he said to me. Wife had a breakdown on the phone with him. She sent him the injuries and pictures of grandpa/grandma. He finally came out of his room and told me he isn't going to go on the trip and the planned tickets aren't needed. Talked to my wife. Never heard her that mad. Son confirmed what happened. He started yelling at her the moment the call started, and she lost her shift when he called her selfish. On good news, grandpa has some feeling back in his legs, which was a huge concern. For people saying we didn't have emergency plan, we do. First, my closest friend, vacation. Main babysitter, not available. Backup babysitter, not available. Last resort, grandparents. Hospital. We tried to find someone. That why we even asked our neighbor, which I have a good relationship with. This will be my last update. Had a conversation with my son about everything. Mom and him will have a conversation when she calms down. His friends are not a state over. They are about 2 down at this point and going to Mexico. They are probably will get to the border tonight. They were supposed to be going to California. He had his passport and everything ready. This is a mess. I haven't informed my wife yet and will wait until she is calmer. I'll leave off with, I hope none of you ever have to deal with a situation like this. And please remember, your parents are human. Update. I informed my wife about him going to Mexico and not California last night. It was over FaceTime, and after a long conversation, we agreed she was too emotional to deal with the situation and that I will handle it while she focuses on her parents. I got the full story for my son first. The original plan was to go to California, but it changed to Mexico. He knew we wouldn't pay for a trip out of the country, so he lied. When the emergency happened, he realized that if he missed the leave date, he wouldn't be able to join without us knowing he lied. I am furious. He was using our money for a trip and lying to our faces. So he is paying back every dime that we gave him for the trip. He already gave us $2,000, but the rest will have to come from his paychecks since he already spent it. Next was a log conversation about if he wants to be in this family. He is 18, he can leave. But if he wants to be in the family, he has to give, not just take form everyone else. We aren't required to do shift at this point, but we love him, so we do. He can't be lying to our faces and screaming at people when their parents are in bad shape. He admits he was upset and went too far, especially with his mom. And when she sent those pictures and sunk in how bad the situation was, not thrilled she did that. It was then it sunk in his grandparents could have passed. He apologized to his mom and me, and she apologized for her breakdown on the phone. We are going to book family therapy since our trust that our son has been destroyed, and it will help with the whole event. I don't regret not taking the younger kids to the ICU. It's an awful place and would be awful for them, and seeing my wife having her breakdowns. On good news, grandpa was moved to a normal room. Unsure when he will be released, but it's a long recovery for him. Also know he didn't cause the accident. It was on her highway and weaving car hit them. We think we will move down to the grandparents' home to help them, but it is uncertain at the moment.